Isn't me you're looking for? I can see it in your eyes. Ah, today has been a weird day. Let me go ahead and get a few things on the screen. I thought I was done with today. Take off my glasses. I thought I was done with today. Apparently not. Apparently not. I was told to go ahead and do a little update. So we're doing a Blu-ray reading. Okay, wait. I'm told to get the 2 at the bottom of the deck. We're going to start with our Blu-ray reading. Whew. Here we go. Here we go. I asked what this reading was going to be about, and I was told consequences and empowerment. So there's things going on, right? I don't know if you guys noticed the energy of today. And I just kind of feel, hi, Esme. Hey, Paula. Hey, USD. Kid. Alexandra. Okay, let me stop. Let me stop. Let me not use up all my energy, the last little bit that's left. Hi, everyone. So, my lips are super dry. Here's the thing. I was told quite a few things that prompted me to go and live stream right before bed. One of the things was that quite a few of us are kind of, it's almost like being triggered into this negative frame of mind. Um, I wouldn't be surprised if, one of us or some of us, not one of us, some of us have suddenly gotten this like weird vibe, and it's caused us to begin really thinking about life, thinking about the things we've accomplished or the lack of accomplishment, thinking about all sorts of different, just maybe even existential stuff, things that you kind of are just not quite understanding why you feel this way. Okay. Um, I don't know why you feel this way, but I do know, I do know that a lot of what's happening has to do with you realizing how important you are, with you realizing all sorts of different things about yourself, all sorts of different things about your journey. And you won't realize these things until you experience the intensity of that darkness, that insecurity, that hardship that's rising back up to the surface. Um, I've just seen so many different things happening for quite some time now. It's just this really weird thing. I don't know if it has to do with planetary energy. I don't know if it has to do with maybe some of the different things that are being done somewhere um, deep within the earth, if you get what I'm saying. Um, it might be fluctuations in frequency from technologies, and that can be taken so many different ways. But there's this shift that's occurring, and it feels like initially people will receive it as like a negative shift. I've been grumpy all motherfucking day, yo. For no fucking reason. I've been grumpy and kind of just like trying to tend to myself. Like, bitch, what's wrong with you now? I don't know. Something's wrong. I don't know. You know, um, it's just one of those things. We're going through something right now as a collective whole that's causing us to really, really shift our focus, really just shift our perception of ourselves. And it's not necessarily a bad shift, it's just a shift. And if you're going to allow yourself to shift in the way your higher self is asking you to shift, what happens is that negativity that you're sensing becomes the impetus for your growth. We're talking about self realization and self actualization. For some people, they're using this period as the opportunity to really just act a fool. Good luck with your bullshit. I mean it. Good luck with your bullshit. Because guess what? The first portion of today's title is consequences and then empowerment. Sometimes when you hold people accountable for the shit they're doing, the consequences, it empowers you. Why? Because then you begin to realize, like, I don't got to deal with this shit. I don't got to deal with it. I just don't. I totally shuffled the card back into the deck. Whatever. Mikey can be mad all he wants. I'm going to shuffle it some more. So that way, that. Michael says, I cannot alter. I cannot alter what cards will come out. I'm not altering it. I'm shuffling the deck. All right. Okay. Here goes. All right. There. Let's start pulling cards. Let's start pulling cards. Security. I think right now is a time when, if you're not going to pay attention to what you're thinking, what you're going through, you'll probably have an energetic security breach. You have to pay attention. Don't allow your focus to be put on things that are not worthy of your focus, that are not worthy of you. Y'all, I've said it before. I will say it again. Not everyone deserves your attention. Not everyone is worthy of you. It doesn't make them less than, or it doesn't make them less entitled to existing with dignity. It just means they're not worthy of you spending so much time on them. That's what that means. Okay. We have to stop making it more than what it actually means. If they're not worthy of your time, they're not worthy of your time. And that's that. Literally, that's that. That's it. That's it. That's all that means. Keep moving forward. Keep pushing forward towards whatever is worth your time, the people and the projects, whatever is worth your time. That is what you focus on. Okay. Healer, you need to begin healing yourself. Sometimes the best way to heal yourself is by, like maybe telling specific people, like, fuck you. I'm sorry for the bad language. I kind of sort of a little bit. I'm a little bit sorry for my foul language. But it's like it drives the point home. It's this sentence enhancer, right? It kind of jostles your attention and you're like, what did she just say? I said, tell them fuck you. That's what I said. And here's the thing. It's like if you have been consistently nice to someone and they continue, oh, my eye is twitching like a mofo. If you have been consistently nice to someone and they keep being like that with you, I mean, they can go diddle themselves. Go diddle yourself. That's a better one. For some reason, that's more offensive. You can go diddle yourself. Oh, shit. You dirty sandwich. Imagine. Oh my God. What would your reaction be if my eye is twitching even worse? What would your reaction be if we were arguing, like you were trying to cuss me out, and I was like, you can go diddle yourself, you dirty sandwich? I would be like, bitch, what? What? What's this? I feel like I should be offended. What does that mean? I don't know. It can mean whatever you want it to mean. You can go diddle yourself, you dirty sandwich. You diddling dirty sandwich. That's how I used to speak when I get angry because I never used to say any bad words. The bad word thing, that's very recent. That's just within the last couple of years. When I became a mom, absolutely no bad words. Stupid is a bad word. You are so just you diddling dirty sandwich. Freaking A. You're making me so upset. You can't even say pissed off because that's like, oh, my God. Why would you say that? I'm going to revert back to that, my old vernacular. That's what I'm going to do just for shock value. Respect in reverse. There's no respect. Here's the thing with respect. You can't demand respect with words. You can't. You cannot demand respect with words. You can demand it with energy. You can demand it with action, but you can't demand things with words. If the words don't align with the energy and the action, it doesn't mean anything. So when you demand respect, it has to actually carry weight. Okay. It has to carry weight. And I think a lot of what's happening is there's no weight, no gravity to your desire to get respect from whoever this is that you're dealing with. I think you guys are dealing with someone. Whoever it is you're dealing with, they have this sense of like, nothing's going to happen. There's no consequences. There's no none of that. Why? Well, because there's something that they've observed with you that tells them that, I mean, what are you going to do if they don't respect you? Nothing, right? Does that mean you have to always fight people? No, doesn't mean that either. But it means when you mean something, it has to actually mean something. It's like that person who's in a relationship and they're not going to leave, but they're unhappy. So what they do is they tell their partner, like, I'm done. I'm just done with you. I'm done. I'm done. I'm over it. I'm done. What does that even mean? What does that mean? If I say I'm done, you don't fucking exist. Pisces with cap in there. Yeah. If I say I'm done with you, that means I'm not entertaining anything else from you, not your apology, not your excuses, not your malignancy, nothing. I'm literally done. Capital DONE. Mhm. There's nothing else to say. Ooh, ooh. So I haven't really been on social media, right? And there have been some things. Where did I save it? Oh, gosh darn ya. Gosh darn ya. Oh my God. I looked out the window earlier. I was out running errands and I think it's like some chain and some franchise that works on animals or I don't know what they do. All I know is I was in a funk and I look out my window and on the side of this vehicle is a decal and it was like my spirit animal. Have you ever heard something so ridiculously obnoxious and so obnoxious in its lack of intelligence that you get Forrest Whitaker eyes? What'd you say? Like that. I felt that towards myself earlier. I totally felt that towards myself because I didn't understand where I was going with the brewing tirade that was occurring in my brain. It was a brewing tirade. And it wasn't directed at anyone outside of myself. And I didn't even know really um, what it was about. But that's what I saw. And I was just like you said, that's my face. That's my face. I look that cute when I'm mad. That's what I was thinking. And then that shifted me. That shifted me because I was like, oh my God, fucking cute, right? Confused, but cute. Like the kind of face that only my mother could love. I'm trying to find the quote. Here, this. Y'all, this, that one. We're gonna show you that one. Uh this one too. This one too. I was downloading people's posts like a mofo. There. We're gonna tie all of this in. This is gonna be a whole mother freaking presentation. It's going to be a whole mother freaking presentation. Hold up. Hold up. Yeah. Well, why would you change the. Oh, Lord. I'm going to have to quick look at everything because. Okay, here. This. We're going to start with this. Here goes. On the subject of respect, check all your relationships. Some are not soul connections. They're attachments you created to fill a void in your soul left by low self esteem, lust, fear, and loneliness. Not all ties in your life belong there. Some are just replacing the love you haven't been given. You haven't been giving yourself. Hold on. Let me just. You haven't been giving yourself. See what I'm saying? So I think a lot of what's going on right now has to do with so many of us being triggered to take action. And the first part of taking action is preparing to take action. How do you prepare? By getting very real with yourself, by taking stock of where you are, where you want to be, how you feel about yourself and your life. Today, I had so many plans for July. So many plans. So many plans. I have so many things that I need to get done this month. And I don't want to give myself excuses. Oh, but I'm busy. I don't care, girl. Make time. Make it work. Make it work. Not overwork myself, but make it work. So, how can I make it work? Well, am I wasting time somewhere else? Case in point, yo, I think this what was it this? I think this is what started me off. I think my irritation started last night. So I had been downstairs and like all the windows are open, the sliding door is open, like we airing out the house or something. I don't know, but all the windows were open. I'm like, okay, whatever. It's a little breeze. That's fine. I'm not going to complain. If people want fresh air, they want fresh air. And I go upstairs before everyone else and I hear I was like, bitches, are y'all fucking kidding me right now? The AC was on. And I go to look at the thermostat, which the zone upstairs happens, the thermostat is in my room. And I go to look and it's set at 70, which usually that's not really an issue, but I'm over here like trying to be money conscious, right? And I'm like, that could have been set at 75, which will be not super comfortable, but it's tolerable. But the fact that it's set at 70 and all the windows downstairs are open, and y'all wondering why our electric bill is the way it is, motherfuckers. And that's what I felt. And I went to bed feeling like that. I went to bed feeling like that. And I woke up perfectly fine and made myself French toast that I also air fried, grain free, gluten free, dairy free. It was amazing. It was amazing. And I don't know what happened. I think the French toast hit my bloodstream and then toxic shit happened to me because the morning was good. And then yeah. And that's the thing is that I allowed my connection to the night before to carry over, right? Oh, it wasn't the kids, baby girl. It was not the kids. It was not the kids. And girl, and he had the nerve to come upstairs and be like, "Did you turn off the AC?" We all going on an electric budget. I don't know. I'm just messing around. I think I was just looking for reasons to be irritated, to justify my irritation with I don't even know what. Because I didn't feel irritated at my husband. I felt irritated at the AC. Which what the fuck did that solve? I literally was not irritated at any family member. I was irritated at the thermostat and the AC. Disrespectful ass motherfuckers. Not you guys. The AC was disrespectful. The fact that it turned on right when I got in the room. Like, bitch, you let me know right when I get in the room? Like it couldn't wait to snitch on my familia. The lack of respect. The lack of respect. Put some respect on my name. That's all I wanted for it to put some respect on my name. But see, going back to what I'm talking about, in all seriousness, this thing right here, checking all of your relationships, seeing which ones are just there to fill the void, which ones are there to actually be healthy, these true soul based connections. I have a true soul based connection with my husband and my children. I'm not going to be fucking yelling at them over that. I'm not. I'm pretty sure either we didn't realize the AC was on upstairs, but the AC wasn't on downstairs. So it's not like this completely inconsiderate thing, right? It's this thing of I was going through a process. And if I had remained in my old toxic states, one of those, because I have several of them, you best believe I would have been blaming children. I would have been blaming a husband. I would have been blaming all sorts of shit. All sorts of shit. There's nothing to blame. Sometimes we have to recognize that we use our life circumstance to simply give ourselves an excuse to really let our anger out, our feelings. I probably was pissed off about something from like a week ago, 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago. I don't know. I don't even know. I don't remember that far back. So I don't know. And that's the thing. When you allow yourself to really begin taking stock of what's upset you and why, usually it's something that's triggered in the moment or not far away from that current moment, but that triggering is taking you all the way around the block to when something really happened. That could have been a couple weeks ago, a couple months ago, a couple years ago. We don't know. And a lot of what needs to happen now is we need to really take stock of what it is we're trying to do. What are you trying to accomplish right now? If your emotions are really out of hand, what are you trying to do with that? What is your objective? What is your goal? Is it this thing of like, despite the fact that you don't understand yourself adequately, you don't have to completely understand yourself, but you have to at least understand yourself to an adequate degree, right? Despite the fact that you don't understand yourself to an adequate degree, you are expecting people to understand your needs and what, fulfill them. I mean, I don't know if that's a reasonable expectation. So here's another thing that I saw, and I saw these things in quick succession of each other. So it was a very beautiful thing. So here it is. You aren't meant to be understood by everyone. You're meant to blow some minds and break belief systems. And when you go and do that, if that is your soul's purpose, you will trigger the heck out of people who are clinging to a system that comforts them in the most uncomfortable way. Mm. Have you noticed that? People will cling to the very thing that has caused their pain because that's all they know. Somewhere in the middle of my day, I was kind of just scrolling through Facebook. And what happened was I was scrolling through Facebook and this video comes up and it's this woman and she is just bawling. She's crying and crying. And she's in a courtroom. And the judge asks her, "Why did you stay?" And she goes, "Because this is all I know. I've loved him for 5 years. This is all I know. This is all I have and all I know." And I was just like, girl. And the judge was not having it. She was like, "You could have a disease for 5 years and you still want to be rid of it. You might not know how, but you don't want that for you, right?" It's just this thing of, you know, is that lack of respect in your environment indicative of the lack of respect internally? Because there's a possibility of that. There really truly is. There's a possibility of that. Shadow. There's a lot of things that are happening in your life that are shadowing that internal circumstance, including the people. This is the period where a lot of the old cycles are surfacing, they're resurfacing. Sand that biznatch down, just sand it down. Resurface that biznatch, microdermabrasion. I don't know. I gotta stop. Michael goes, "Are you going to stop?" I said, "I don't know, but I gotta stop." Sorry. So that's the thing. There is a lot going on that comes from old cycles that you've exited, and you thought you were done with a cycle. You probably were. Who knows? Maybe you really were done. This is not about telling or convincing yourself you haven't done the work, that you've lied to yourself. Stop that. Stop that caca hogwash. Stop the caca hogwash right now. So sometimes what happens is you finish off a cycle and it goes dormant for a period, maybe a few years. And then the cycle comes back. When you reach a higher level, a high enough level, the cycle will be initiated to come back. It will be triggered and it will come back around and you'll be seeing it from a higher perspective. So I was telling my business team today, um, I was telling my board members, like, there's just certain things that I'm no longer willing to repeat. I'm just not. I'm not. Sometimes people need to learn that stupidity can be expensive. It can have an expensive consequence. And when you're going to continue to do stupid things, to try and harass other people, to try and intimidate other people, to try and this and try and that, and you're just going to be malignant in your stupidity, that's going to cost you a pretty penny. It is. There are certain things that you should never say to other people. And I'm not talking about hiding, you know, aspects of you so people will tolerate you better. No, I'm talking about like you threaten people, you make these statements that really are illegal. That's going to have a very hefty consequence. Very, very hefty consequence. And once upon a time, I used to be the person who was like, I totally know I have a civil case. I do. But I mean, they're already struggling and suffering. They would never be able to afford a lawyer to fight with me about this. They would never be able to afford whatever damages I'm awarded. And I should just leave it alone. I'm not that girl anymore. No, no. My business, my company, my integrity, my reputation as a business owner. It's like my child. It needs to be protected, especially when I don't harm other people. And I always go out of my way to be protective and respectful of people's sovereignty, of their right to decide, things like that, you know? So I should totally protect myself and my business this time around. I'm not that girl anymore. And I'm not even ashamed to admit that, to publicly declare that. You want to play legal games? Let's go. I'm not rich. I'm not. But this is important for me to do. It's very, very important. It's a very, very important thing, and I will do it. This time around, no free passes, no get out of jail. For some, it might be literal. That's not me anymore. So the cycle comes back around. It came back around, and this time, we're not going through these cycles. No, no, we're not. You want to infringe on my civil liberties? You want to do illegal things directed at me? Go ahead. That's going to cost you, though. That's going to cost you. If that's how you're going to learn, that's how you're going to learn. It's not for me to decide. It's not for me to decide. And that's the thing. When these lessons come circling back around, it's so that you can make different choices this time around. The gravity of how much I allowed people to get away with once upon a time, that will not be repeated. It won't. Can you believe, in legal terms, I've basically already achieved trade dress. You can't copy me. I've established myself publicly. You try and copy that, that's an infringement. That's like creating a restaurant called McDonald's instead of McDonald's. You can't do that. You can't do that. You can't have the double golden arches and say it's different just because you use a different font. I don't think so. That's not how it works. And way back when, I had spent ridiculous amounts of money to file multiple patents, to file multiple trademarks. And then I never pursued the protection of my business assets. Why? Well, because I mean, they're already struggling. Let them struggle more if that's what they need to learn. Consequences for actions. Consequences. People need to learn consequences. Sometimes it's not something legal, okay? Sometimes the consequence has to do with the loss of your friendship, the loss of access to you. That's a very real consequence. You want to be disrespectful to someone on my team? You think it's all good because you weren't being disrespectful to me personally? It's the same shit to me. It's the same shit to me. You want to cuss out a member of my team? Bitch, you just cussed me out. I'm not taking none of your sessions. You go somewhere else. Plenty of energy workers. Replace me. Is all good. Replace me. I don't need that kind of toxicity in exchange for money. Again, I'm not rich, but I have integrity and standards. And because of my integrity and my standards, I can honestly say I absolutely genuinely adore 99.9999999% of my clients. Seriously, I genuinely adore them. Genuinely. Genuinely. And if it wasn't for the fact that I have zero boundaries, if it wasn't for that fact, I would totally be in their inbox and be chatting with them all day. Because, see, sometimes, I'll come across people who it'll start like that, and then because I don't establish boundaries, then it will become this thing of daily free readings in Messenger, and I can't do that. I can't do that because if I do that for one person, then I have this logic of, well, I have to do it for everybody because that's only fair. Hello, that's only fair. I'm a total mom. I'm a total mom like that. If you're gonna get one kid a surprise from the grocery store, mofo, you better start looking for surprises for every single kid we have. Y'all are not children, but I love you the same. I love you the way I love my children, you know? And that's the thing, is that I can have that space of vulnerability and love because I always uphold my integrity and that boundary when it comes to work. I have to. I have to. And it's just one of those things. Have you been compromising your boundaries because you're afraid you're going to hurt someone's feelings? I don't know. I don't know if you're going to hurt someone's feelings. And you don't know either until you actually have that conversation. I was talking to a really good friend, and I was telling them that I just have a hard time communicating. I do. I have a hard time communicating in real life. Like, I could do live streams and stuff, but like communication about my personal life, like, we have something going on and I have to discuss some details with you. This is hard. I'm serious. It's that's nervous laughter. It's not funny to me. I have to nervously laugh or else I might cry. It's true. Um and they're amazing. They're amazing, and I knew they weren't gonna take it in any way that it wasn't intended, but it was still, like, so nerve-wracking, like, "Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh," to where I had to ask my husband to proofread it because I'm like, "Is it asshole-ish? Is any component of what I wrote asshole-ish? And let me know what part so I can remove that." And there was nothing asshole-ish about anything I wrote. It wasn't some confrontational thing. It was a regular message, right? Just communicating though. And that's the thing. I mean, do we struggle with communication? Do we struggle with communicating our needs to the people in our environment, the very people who are willing, like, oh, so willing to allow themselves to be the one to really help you, right? And if you don't have that, if you don't have someone like that, I have another thing for you. I have something for you to just to read. Excuse me. I don't think it's this. This one touched my heart though. I don't think it's that. I think it's this one. Let's see. Yes, this one. This one absolutely touched my heart. Look at this. When I say I'm blessed, I don't mean money or material things. I mean situations that were sent to me or sent to destroy me, but didn't even touch my soul. You have to understand some of the things that feel like it's destroying you didn't even leave a mark on your shield. It didn't leave a mark. So you have to stop playing the role of being destroyed just because someone tried to. People will try. That's okay. You will find the appropriate way to respond. It will not be a reaction, it will be a response. It will be a response. Something that you carefully think out, something that you consider the ramifications, the fallout, if any, of what you say or do before you say or do it. I don't have to pretend to be destroyed. I don't have to pretend and then eventually believe that someone outside of me had the authority to destroy me. I don't. Why don't I? Who do I think I am? Your mom. I think I'm your mom. Um, who do I think I am to make those statements if I don't have to pretend to be destroyed? I think I'm one powerful goddess of a woman. And that's a statement all on its own. I don't have to further explain that. And if you don't understand the gravity of that statement, if you didn't feel it reverberate in your chest, well, maybe I'm not a reflection of you. Maybe you haven't reached a place yet where you feel as empowered as I feel about myself. Not because I can dominate other people, but because other people can no longer even try to dominate me. And that's it. That's it. That's it. There's nothing else to explain. When you can enter into that state, these attempts at making your manifestations arrive in an upside down manner, it won't matter because you'll have the intelligence and the ability, the discernment to recognize, oh, this card's upside down. Let me go ahead and write it up, get it right side up. Do you see how easy that was? Don't be the kind of person who's like, oh my God, the card's upside down. The manifestation card, it's upside down. Bitch, turn it around. And then it's fixed. There, it's fixed. A manifestation is a manifestation is a manifestation is a manifestation. It is your perception that creates the sensation and the experience of positivity and negativity. It's you. You have that kind of power. How do I know this? Well, because I was homeless for quite a few years and it was the best adventure of my life. Zero regrets. I'd do it again if my kids would allow us. They don't want to anymore. They're tired of driving around. Yeah, they don't want to anymore. They would just want to stay put in a house. So, okay, fine. We'll stay put in a house. But yeah, yeah. I can talk about it like it's nothing. Actually, no, that's not quite accurate. I can talk about it like it was so amazing because it was. And it's not amazing because I convinced myself to find the goodness in it. I live the goodness day in and day out. I don't know if it's because I'm Piscean. Um, most people would be like, oh my God, you literally went through all of that. Part of how I got us out of that situation, I was instructed on a specific design. I began creating Selenite swords, patented Selenite swords. And these swords that I was making, it still feels so tangible to me. Being on a small portion of the bed in the back of the RV in the parking lot of Walmart with all of my little solar lights. You know, the $1 solar lights they sell at Walmart, you put them in your walkway. Those. I had about 4 or 5 of those, and I would have to do everything this close because by that time at night, um, the battery was running down and you can't recharge it. We had no electric, we had no water, we had none of that. We didn't even have a fridge, and it was just like it was beautiful. I felt so free. I felt like I was truly living, and I wasn't making these swords because I had to, because I was desperate to. I was making these swords as an expression of the process and the progress I was making through my spiritual journey. Have y'all ever seen the swords that I make? I make selenite swords. It's been a while since I've regularly showcased them. It's been a while. I'll start that up again. My soul is longing for it. It takes me back to a space that is just so beautiful for me. A space where life was just so simple. It was so simple and it was so free. There were no limits, none, no limitations at all. And that was where I learned about myself and what I'm capable of, the type of peace I can create for myself. Even in the midst of chaos, I was at peace, a peace that just could not be touched, not by anything, not by anyone. It couldn't be touched. A peace so profound that it infused in my entire environment to this day. Despite the fact that we were in 100-degree weather with no AC and very young children, my kids look back at that and they think it was our RV adventure. It was just an adventure. And we never taught them that. We never had to apologize for the life we lived. Like, my kids are amazing. They've never gone without a meal. And the thing was, as long as we're together, life is just so good. It's so good. It really, really is. I mean, that was the most powerful period I ever lived to date. It might be the most powerful period of my life for the whole life, because it was then that I realized I needed to let go of all of these different characters that I play for other people. Going back to my swords, people got very jealous. They saw the success of what I was doing and they became very, very jealous. Very, very jealous. They were upset because they wanted what I created for myself, which is enough financial stability to be able to willy nilly help other people. That's what I was known for. You need help, I'll help you. I don't care if I'm in a parking lot. You need money for your groceries? Give me your PayPal. I don't want you to not eat. I already ate today. Give me your PayPal. You need money for electric? Tell me how much. No, tell me how much. Girl, we're good. We don't have electric. I don't have an electric bill. Fuck that shit. We good. How much is your electric? I don't know. It was just one of those things where it's like people need something. They need help. They need hope. They need a reflection of divinity looking back at them. So I was able to do that. I was able to be that. Powerful is that? And even with me using my success, my stability in that way, it wasn't enough for people. They wanted what I had. And so they began, all of these different things that pertain to my swords, copying the design, just, threatening me, all sorts of different shit. Craziness, absolute craziness. Craziness. So you know what I did? See, business minded people would be like, Emmy, you can't do that. You can't take a hiatus when your business is reaching this pinnacle of success. You got to go more, create more products, sell more, sell more. And I was like, no, no more swords. These are not products. These are shards of me and my soul. I will not have the malignants cashing in on my reputation and integrity. Fuck that. No swords. So I took down all of my auctions because those were reaching a lot of people. I was advertising for the knockoffs. I took them all down and I stopped making swords. Funny. They said that I was trying to gatekeep. I was being selfish and greedy. Well, if the people are buying them because they're a product, why weren't you able to sustain that industry? That's right. They weren't buying a product. They were acquiring shards of me. And that's when I learned I am so much more valuable and more powerful than I could ever give myself credit for. So much more. So much more. I'm still going to learn that. I'm going to learn that deeper and deeper as I mature and reach higher levels of self awareness. I will begin to recognize and embrace a deeper depth of my exact worth. I might not ever reach that point in this lifetime where I know exactly just how worthy I am. I get little blips, little visuals of that once in a while. That fades quickly. Those are so easy to forget. And that's okay. I don't need to cling to this little blip of a hint that my soul gives me. I would rather be fully present and learning and growing and really immersing myself in the process of learning my proper place in this world. Where's my proper place? At the top. At the top, right beside you. Feel the gravity of that. Feel the gravity of that. That's where I belong. At the top, with all of you right beside me. Because at the top, that's where you have the best view of the type of world you've created for yourself and for others. Not because you're more important, but because at some point you deserve to see the beauty you create. One day I'll get there and I'll be able to see exactly what I've done with my life. I hope to make myself proud. I hope to make myself proud because then I'll know I've truly lived. It's very, very difficult for me to feel proud of myself. It's not for a lack of confidence. It's just very difficult. My expectation of myself is ridiculous. It's ridiculous. But see, here's the thing. I realize now it's not a form of self punishment or self hatred. Once upon a time, it was. Once upon a time, it was the way I punished myself for existing. Now I realize it's the very reason I continue to excel. I look back and I see like these people wanted what I had, what I was building for myself. You willing to live in a parking lot? Hmm? You willing to live in a parking lot and create these beautiful creations by hand with little tea light solar candles? Yeah, didn't think so. Didn't think so. And that's the thing. People can covet you and your life and your learning all they want. But the fact still remains if they're not willing to pay the price you paid, your blood, sweat, and tears to learn what you learned to get to where you're at, then they'll never have that. And if they're not willing to do that to achieve it for themselves, you don't need to cater to their insecurities. You don't need to bow down to these demands. You don't. You can continue to walk forward with your head held high, not nose in the air. I'm talking about head held high. You don't have to shrink with shame or guilt or any of that. And this is the path of an empowered warrior, someone who's gone to war with their own self and has reached a point of understanding and acceptance, realization to that degree that they put their weaponry down. I will not fight myself anymore. I will not fight myself. I will not fight my truth. I will not fight my purpose. I will not fight myself anymore. And it took many, many people being brought across my path with weaponry that was far inferior to what I wield. What do I wield? Divine fucking truth. A truth so profound, you feel every syllable and vowel that comes out of my mouth. You could never shut that up. Never. You can't even distort it. You know why I say this? People might be like, yeah, you can, Emmy. You can distort it. No, you can't. You can't distort the truth that I bring. You can be the distorted one and hearing it in whatever distorted way your toxicity causes you to hear. That's your problem, not mine. That is your issue to deal with and seek assistance for. That is not my obligation to fix for you, despite the fact that you don't choose to fix it. You see how that works there? And I had to learn these things. I had to learn to stop being ashamed and afraid that my voice does not tremble when I speak the truth. Would you believe society has once upon a time put me in a position where I should feel ashamed for speaking the truth, that I'm a good person, that I am a giver and a lover. I am an empowerer and the mother you've sought your entire life, that I would protect you even after you've been disrespectful to me, that I would not raise my hand at you just because you didn't do what I said. I'm not that kind of mother. I'm the kind that would be honest with you, that would empower you. I remember one time, um, my oldest and I, we were having a conversation, and he had shared something along the lines of he wasn't sure if he could do something. And I was like, listen, you are my son. You're not sure? Failure does not run through our veins. Half your blood came from me. You're incapable of failure. Don't you ever question yourself like that again. You are incapable of failure. If your mother is incapable of staying down when life knocks her down, you're just as incapable of that as I am. And maybe it's time we begin telling ourselves the truth of failure does not run through my veins. Redirection, maybe? Opportunities to try different approaches, maybe? Failure? No. The only thing I failed at in my life ever was failing. I failed at being a failure. I couldn't do it. Let that really sink in. The only thing I failed at in life was failing and remaining there. The gravity of that. The gravity of that realization. That's the only thing I've ever failed at in life. Now, I'm not saying everything comes easy. I'm saying I work until it's second nature. I earn it. When was the last time you gave yourself that credit? Where you work so hard to reach a specific level and you reached it. And then what? You compared yourself to someone who was at a higher level? Okay, well, do the work, the extra work that they've done that you haven't done yet, and you'll be there too. You'll be there too. The consequences of your lack of belief in yourself affects your entire life. Even one moment of lack of belief of self can forever alter the trajectory of your entire life. It can alter the trajectory of your entire life. Dedication in reverse. You have to dedicate yourself to your growth, your process. See, we are so able and willing, and oftentimes we even volunteer to help someone grow despite us struggling to grow ourselves. That doesn't make you a good person. It makes you a martyr. Have you heard my theory on what a martyrdom does? It's a form of emotional manipulation. When you enter into that state of martyrdom, you are actively emotionally manipulating the person you are martyring yourself for. Like, no, that's not true. It is true. Why is it not true? Why is it true? I'll tell you why. As someone who's lived as a martyr for more than half my life, I would martyr myself because of my insecurity that if I didn't overgive, if I didn't give to the point of my own personal detriment, then you would validate my fear that I'm not enough to be in your presence. But if I martyr myself and create a dependency, you will then see me in the way that I choose to make you see me, a necessity in your life. And so once I do that, you'll then choose to allow me to continue to stay. And if I continue to do that, you'll never realize that I was never worthy to be in your presence in the first place. Tell me why that's not emotional manipulation. Yeah. Yeah. I love India Ari. Mm. She has this song, That's How I Know God Is Real. And it just, oof. Mm. That was a very powerful 2 or 3 minutes of my life. It takes me right back to that extremely powerful 2 or 3 minutes. Songs have a beautiful way of reminding you how far you've come. Songs have such a beautiful way of reminding you how far you've come, how hard life has tried to challenge you, and how you've risen to the challenge every single time. Even when you don't give yourself the credit for what you've accomplished, what you've lived through, thrived through. Lady Goddess, that's right. It's time for you to begin living as a goddess in flesh. And I don't mean these false idols type of goddess. The ones that are polished to the degree that the shine helps to obscure the imperfections, right? I'm not talking about the aesthetic of a goddess. I'm not talking about the vernacular that's used by the people who try and claim the status of a goddess but have not reached it yet. I'm talking about really, truly, viscerally entering into this space of goddess in the flesh. Just being what you are. I'm not talking about some archetype. I'm talking about you. You were born to be a goddess. That's your design. You ever notice why I don't really try and make a point to increase my audience reach? I'm kind of just satisfied with it being us, right? And I don't know if that makes sense to you guys. Whenever I sit in this space with you, I feel like I've entered into a circle of goddesses. And it further empowers the goddess that's been erupting from my core for the past several years now. Yeah. And you've had a role in that. And it's not me just giving you a title, it's me acknowledging what I feel when I sit in your presence. There's a difference between people blowing smoke up your ass and people just sharing their perspective. That's my perspective. That's what I see. That's what I experience. It's not me trying to make you feel good about yourself. It's me sharing with you how you affect me. The goddess in you wakes up and invites to come out the goddess in me. That's a very beautiful thing for us to be able to do for each other. It's a very beautiful thing, especially in a world that has conditioned us to hate each other. Why? Oh, because women are drama and toxic? No, they're not. No, they're not. I know more than a handful of women who are so far removed from drama and toxicity. So far removed. Fuck out of here with that bullshit. Yeah, no, stop playing that game. Exit out of it. Enter into a space so powerful that the lies become just that, recognized, identified lies. There's been a war that's been waged on the goddess and the god, on the feminine and the masculine. We got to stop. We got to stop. We got to be able to see the truth when it's the truth. Y'all think that what? It's men versus women because they overturned something? The Supreme Court overturned something? It's men versus women now? Are you kidding me? You don't see that that was a ploy? We'll overturn that, and then we'll be like, oh my God, that's horrible. This is why we need more of our party in control. We need to get rid of both y'all fuckers for real. Get rid of both of them. They're both fucking rotten. They're like gangrene gonorrhea. Gangrene gonorrhea government. That is potent. Ooh, this is making my eye twitch. Ooh, ooh, that's making my eye twitch. We got to stop. We got to stop. We got to take our power back. How do you take your power back? By what? I don't believe in activism anymore. Why? Because it's bullshit. What has it accomplished? What has it accomplished? Has it solved any problems? Or has it been yet another thinly veiled platform from which you are justified in your attack of other people? I mean, we had a republic, not a democracy. Just stop. Oh my God. I gotta save that for ET talks. I'm just saying. I'm just saying. I'm just saying. I got a lot of cards that I pulled. Cleansing in reverse. God made dirt. Dirt don't hurt. Everything you go through, every filthy thing you go through, it is empowering your immune system. The more yucky, germy people you come across, the ones that try and make you sick, the ones who intrinsically have the ability to make you sick, they boost your immune function. Eventually, you will be immune to the bullshit of life. And you will be so healthy in your life and your perspective that you don't feel sick anymore. And that's when you're really going to shine. That's when you're really going to shine and just be this Care Bear of a motherfucker and just Care Bear stare the shit out of everybody. That's what we need. We need more motherfucking Care Bears. And you can sing a little song while you do it. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. I'm saying. I used to think Care Bears were weak. Here's the thing. When I was a kid growing up, at that particular time slot in the area that I lived in, my options were Care Bears or He-Man. Those were my options. Care Bears or He-Man, which one? And I was like, Care Bears are weak. I was like in kindergarten. Care Bears are, I didn't even speak English. Let's be real here. I didn't speak English until first grade. So I was in first grade. I'm just saying. I will forever love Snuffleupagus and Big Bird because they helped me become bilingual. Because my mama wasn't going to teach me no Americano. Yeah, no. Thank you, Big Bird. Now I can cuss people out in 2 languages. And if you include the training that I received from the barrio that I live near, I can cuss motherfuckers out in 3 languages. And if you include my lovely international peoples on Facebook, I mean, it's limitless. I can cuss people out from every fucking nation. I'm not going to, though. We're not being rude. Anywho, getting back on track. I got caught up in Care Bears. Care Bears. So that was the option, right? Care Bears or He-Man. And I was like, yeah, she's buff. He's buff. He got weapons and a fucking tiger. And he's buff. You know, I was like, I'm watching He-Man. But see, I look back and now I'm much more mature. Theoretically. I look back, I'm much more mature now. I'm not. Oh my God. I've never been this immature in my life, not even as a child. I've like aged in reverse. I don't give a shit. Anywho, so I look back and I see where was the real power? He-Man pretty much, he was always working alone. He was always fucking in a fight. Like, oh, people always constantly fucking with his ass. I don't know if it was because of the tights or the hair. I don't know who dressed him that way. And the next thing you know, he was in underwear and a chest fucking strappy thing. I was like, I'm not going to judge you for your fashion choices. And then it was She-Ra, but I thought she was kind of like busted. I don't know. I much preferred He-Man. I had a little bit of gender identity stuff going on when I was a kid. And so I look back and He-Man, he had all the fucking drama. He lived in Smoke City. He had nothing but smoke from people. They're constantly just smoke on He-Man. And he's like, I have the power. Bitch, no, you don't, because these people keep trying your ass. Clearly, they don't agree that you have the power. Oh, hello. And then I look at the Care Bears. These motherfuckers are like, and then everything was good. That was it. I'll be a Care Bear now. I'm all about Care Bear life. Like, bitch, what the fuck you say to me? saying. Which one was more effective? Okay? Mhm. Okay? Yes. Okay. So you got me there. I'm a fucking Care Bear now. Whew. Whew. Just like that. Care Bears with we don't even need swords. That's the thing. That's the thing. The most powerful warriors can navigate life without weaponry. They can. Very powerful weapon. Very, very powerful weapon. And when you lose the mind, you gain the soul. Let that sink in. The world has weaponized your mind, not just against other people, but against yourself. Lose your mind and gain your soul. Really, truly liberate yourself from the bondage that we inherited from our forefathers and their forefathers and their forefathers and their forefathers. It's time to change the ethos. It's time to change that group thought, that hive mind behavior. The awakening in reverse. Shit. That's fucking potent. The awakening in reverse. How do you dry a flower? Put it upside down. So you can dry it. And despite the fact that it has no life left in it, the environment has sucked it dry, you can still put it in a vase and still exploit its beauty. Are you that flower? Are you a dried flower? Something that was cut from its proper place, put upside down, allowed to be sucked dry from its environment, and then put in a vase. So your beauty, the beauty of your death and your suffering is still exploited. I'm just saying. I mean, people gonna be like, "Oh my God, you got all that from this card?" Yes, the fuck I did. Yes, the fuck I did. You think I'm a storyteller? I got all that from the card. Like I refuse. I refuse to be a cut and dried flower. I'm not fucking potpourri. Are you kidding me? I just got this memory of my grandmother. So she lived with us until I was like 12, right? She's this bougie lady. So she's this bougie lady, and her room always had to be like prim and proper, and she like super girly things. She's like, picture Susan Lucci. That's my grandma, Susan Lucci playing a mob boss's wife. That's my grandmother. I'm not even joking. I'm not even joking. Yo. I gotta show you guys this because it's so important. I gotta quickly show you this and ding. I gotta show you this. It's so important. You need to see it. You need to see it. Where is it? Did I save it on my phone? Or did I save it on the laptop? Ah, maybe this is Michael saving me from myself. Because I'll probably get in trouble posting this. My grandma, she was posing like a G. I don't know who thought it was good to give her the 12 gauge pump action. And she was posing with it like a fucking mob boss. Um, but so going back to the potpourri, So my grandma was Susan Lucci ish, and she had this bowl of potpourri, and her like she told me that um as a woman you need to have potpourri. For what? And she said you have to put it in a fancy bowl, and you have to leave one, I guess, like in the bathroom, in the entryway, and then she had one in her room. And I remember one day she got really mad. So I have all older brothers. I'm the youngest, I'm the only girl. And my brothers were rowdy. Growing up, they were just super rowdy, right? And this isn't my first time sharing this with anyone. Don't judge me or go ahead. I don't care. I didn't agree with the potpourri. I thought they were dead flowers because I tried to touch one and it poked me. It was like some bark of some kind, and it poked my finger and it stuck in there. And so I got really upset. And I was young. I was very young. I believe I was still in preschool, or was it kindergarten? But I was precocious as fuck as a child. And so what I did, I flushed all her potpourri out down the toilet in the hallway. I flushed it because I thought it was garbage. But I didn't want to put it in the trash because that's evidence. So I flushed it. I put it down the toilet, a small handful at a time so it wouldn't clog, because I heard my brothers getting yelled at for that. I wasn't trying to clog the toilet and get in trouble for that. And so I totally threw out all her potpourri in the house except for her room, because I was not going to get whipped for going in her fucking bougie ass room. So I threw out all her potpourri, and then she blamed my brothers. She said that they did it, and I wasn't going to tell her. So I remember she used to force me to watch General Hospital with her, and she would sit me in her lap. This is. She would sit me in her lap at a certain time during the day, and she would be sitting in her tufted lazy boy rocker, and we would rock like that while she watches General Hospital. And she, oh, whenever things happen in the show. And after I had thrown away all her potpourri, and I wasn't going to tell her, like I said, fuck that shit. They already got in trouble. They already got their asses beat. I don't need to volunteer to get my ass beat too. Whatever. Someone already paid for what I did. It's fine. I was in preschool. Anyways, so she's pissed off about it still, right? She can't let it go. And we're watching Lucci, and she's telling me how horrible my brothers are. I said, while I quietly plotted to throw away her other potpourri. Fuck potpourri. Don't ever be potpourri. That's the dumbest fucking shit I've ever seen. I'm sorry. If you like potpourri, I'm not for you. I'm that freshly growing, still in the dirt, wildflower that grows haphazardly in the sun with not a single person having the authority to tell me how to grow. I will not be confined, nor will I be cut down and dried upside down. Fuck that shit. I'm not potpourri, and fuck Susan Lucci. I'm sorry, Susan. Is she still alive? That's kind of fucked up. Hold on. I gotta check. Susan Lucci. Not Gucci's Lucci. Not Gucci. Susan Lucci. Oh my God, I almost spelled Gucci. Did she die? Is she still alive? Oh, she's still alive. Like I said, fuck Susan Lucci. I'm just kidding, Susan. I'm sorry, Susan. I'll stop. Okay. Anywho. Did your brothers know it was you? No. I just recently confessed to my brother. She's still alive. Don't worry. I just recently so my oldest brother worked at Yum Yum Donuts when he was like 16, right? And he used to he used to cash his I was a total klepto as a child. So he used to cash his paycheck and then stick it in a glass cup on his dresser, aka my ATM. So I didn't do this for very long. But see, what had happened was this. I saw that there and I was like, why does he keep that there? And I was still fairly young. I want to say like first grade, maybe second grade. And I distinctly remember wondering, why does he keep that there? That's important. He should put it somewhere safe because he has me as a sister. And what I had done was we had the book fair. We had the book fair at my elementary school. And I'm a total book whore. Even as a child. I just love books. I cannot help it. I love books. I love books so fucking much. It's ridiculous. And so what I did every day for the whole month that they were there, I would take $20 from his dresser to go buy books. See, this is and I'm not gonna own this because like I was like in second grade. Why the fuck did my family not realize I was coming home with all these books? And so finally he realized it dwindled down to I think like the last $20. And then he got mad and he thought our second oldest brother was stealing his money and they got in a fight. Like he kicked his ass. And I was like, well, he already kicked his ass. I'm not going to say nothing. This is me as a kid. But he already kicked his ass. I'm not going to say, I don't want to get my ass kicked too. I'm going to go in my room and read my books. And so I told him, I think like last year, I said, hey, remember how you used to work at that donut shop? He goes, oh, yeah, you still remember that? I said, yeah. Remember that time when you kicked so and so's ass because like he was stealing money from your dresser? And my oldest brother, he got triggered. He's like, yeah, that fucking asshole. He was so mad. I was like, so I got a confession. Mind you, he just came home from the hospital, right? So I figured like if he's gonna croak, I want him to croak with this off my chest. It weighed heavily. That's theft. Even though I was in second grade, that's still theft. It weighed heavily. So I was like, I gotta just confess this. So I told him, I was me. I was taking your $20 bills. He goes, are you fucking serious? I was like, yeah, I'm sorry. And he's like, I kicked his ass. I was like, I know. That's why I didn't say anything. Why the fuck would I admit it now? You've kicked his ass. And he's like, why did you take it? I said, because there was a book fair. He's like, are you fucking serious? Yeah, there was a book fair. And mom wouldn't give me money for books. She said I could only spend $50. And, and then she wouldn't give me any more. So why did you leave your money on your dresser anyways? He's like, I was like, what? Now you know, so you can let it go. It's okay. It's done with. He couldn't say shit because it's already done with. Like, bro, you're sick. Like, you don't need to deal with this kind of drama right now. I admitted to you, and you're sick, and we just need to focus on your healing. He's like, get out of my room. Yeah, no, he told me to get out of the room. And I was like, fuck you. This is my room too. Yeah, I told him, this is my room too. I'm staying right on the bed with you. Get out of your room. I don't fucking think so. Make me get out of your room. And mind you, again, he just got home from the hospital, so he couldn't do much except lay down. So I knew he couldn't get me out of the room. Yeah, he loves me. It's all good. Yes, being the youngest has its advantages. And then I'm sure he's forgotten about it by now. I'm sure he forgot like a week later. His memory was affected. There's a lot of shit he doesn't remember. It's all good. So that's now no longer on my chest. It's all good. See how that is? That's how you release. That's how you release. I used to feel so badly about that. I was like, oh my God, I was such a thief as a child. Why did I do that? Because books. I'm serious. I have a total book obsession. It's balance, though. Being able to live in the light as well as the darkness and being able to stay centered in that, that's balance. It's very, very healthy and empowering to be balanced. See? Power. Power. I can't do Kindle. I can't. I need like the pages. I need to feel that in my fingertips. Pages. I need the pages. Alchemist in reverse. You can't suddenly make your life something that it isn't. I'm sorry for the harshness of that, but that's the reality of it. You can't suddenly make your life a happy one if you have not done what is necessary to create happiness. Self acceptance is very crucial for happiness. It's very, very crucial. Knowledge. You've learned so much through this time. Keep going. Keep going. You've already learned so much. Just keep going, keep learning, keep allowing yourself to move forward, to keep progressing. Card number 28, surrender, letting go of the darkness. Excuse me. Remember what I said? Excuse me. That balancing between the light and the dark. You can't cling to the dark just because it helps to validate your need to punish yourself. You don't need to punish yourself. I can sit here and tell you some of the, you know, I mean, granted, I was a very young child and it wasn't exactly that horrible of a, I didn't irreparably harm people or any of that. But I mean, that's still theft. I've let go of the guilt of that. I hold myself accountable. I was in second grade, seriously. And I didn't do that again. I didn't do that again. So, it is what it is. It is what it is. It helped me to learn the gravity of how I affect other people by decisions and actions that I don't fully think out. Because it's like, here's the reality of it. My oldest brother basically raised me. I know I'm basically his baby. He's like a father figure to me. And a huge part of me knew that if I had just asked him for the $20, that he would give me $20. But I didn't stop to think that $20 every day adds up to his whole paycheck. It was because I had a knowing of what he allows me to feel entitled to, but I took it too far. And so sometimes when people take it too far with you, it's not really intentional, not always. And I'm not trying to make excuses for people who cross a line with you. I'm trying to help you to understand why you don't have to cling to that hurt, to that disappointment. You don't have to cling to it. You can very easily, very readily allow yourself the opportunity to recognize you didn't realize some components that needed to be realized in order to better define the boundaries that are necessary to remain in a healthy space, a healthy interaction. This is how we learn. This is how we grow. Give yourself some grace, okay? Trust, love, and friendship. You need to become your greatest friend. You need to allow yourself to begin trusting yourself, trusting your ability to be honest with what you need, be honest with the people in your environment about their effects on you, about how much or how little support you're receiving from them and what you actually need and all of these different things. It's important. You guys, by the way, I have all these ideas. It's just ridiculous. Because they're amazing ideas. So I have this idea. If you work for a company that has tangible goods that can be utilized for care packages for homeless people, um, please message me. I would love to create some type or have some type of presentation for your company um, to gather some supplies. I feel like I haven't taken that step forward yet to really fully begin supporting the homeless community um, in the vicinity of the sanctuary. I feel like I need to start. I need to start getting to know people um, in those communities because it's important. I need to be reminded of who I am making my life's mission to help. I need to be reminded of who they are, what they need from me. It's been a few years since I've existed and been welcomed in the homeless community. Um, and I feel like it's time that I begin doing that again. I used to do that quietly. Um, I'd like to begin doing that and hopefully build enough momentum by the holiday season, because that's going to quickly be upon us. Hopefully, build enough momentum that I can establish enough corporate connections that we can have our very first soup kitchen for the holidays and gift distribution. One of the most beautiful things that I witnessed. Sky says, "Can we donate supplies that we have an abundance of just laying around?" Yes. Yes, absolutely. Oh my gosh, that would be an awesome project. I just love giving. I do. I love giving, and I want to start doing that with a Soulwork Synergistics, not just doing it as I've been doing it quietly for me. I want to begin establishing the presence of Soulwork Synergistics in the local homeless communities so that they can begin to get a good idea, a good feel of our integrity, what we're here to do, that this is not a pity mission. This is a co created shift in our reality, right? It's not about pitying people. This is about providing for a need and allowing that opportunity to bond with them. As I provide for your need, you don't have to be grateful. I just want you to share space with me and tell me about yourself. Tell me your story. How has life been? You know, clearly you're homeless, but you had a life before this. You still have a life as you go through this. You have friends in the community. Where do you like to go? What's your favorite place to hang out? Like, it's an amazing, amazing thing. Amazing, amazing thing. Amazing thing. Like, people like to believe that homeless people are just lazy and don't care and blah, 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 blah. And, they have all of these stereotypes and stigmas. Being someone who has been in a homeless community, like I was part of it, there was this old couple. They're not really old, but they're older. They were like in their maybe 60s, mid to late 60s, I want to say. And they realized that in the RV we had children, and gosh, uh, one day I'm gonna find them. One day I'm gonna find them. It was Jody and John, and John was autistic, high functioning autism. He was a military, or he is a military vet. He, I believe, was a paratrooper, so his knees are shot. Um, he learned to be a mechanic, and He didn't really like people too much. He's a very grumpy guy. Oh, but he adored me. He stole watermelons. I don't know where he stole it from. He just came running one day in the parking lot. He goes, "Get in the car." I was like, "What's he have?" And then we saw them later that night and he got me watermelon. He heard that I love watermelon. So he got me watermelon. And they used to look for toys for the kids and they used to give them things. They used to worry and, they used to ask, like, "You guys have everything you need?" And they didn't have anything. They didn't have unemployment. They literally they didn't have anything. But they were so concerned that the kids were uncomfortable or that they were afraid. They were concerned about stress that I might have been feeling. And I was like, no, it's like, I love this. I love this. And it was just beautiful. It's beautiful. I've never felt like such a part, a cherished part of a community until I became homeless. It's beautiful. People have all these ideas of a community they've never even gotten to know. They literally look out for each other. It's a full on like village type setting. They all know each other's business, all of that. Sky says, I have a bunch of questions regarding this. What is the best way to get in touch with your team to get the questions answered? You can email at contact@soulworksynergistics.com or contact@meevolving.com. Both of those emails work. Or you can go on my website and fill out one of the contact forms that dumps them in the same email addresses, but it's just on the website if you can't remember the email address. You could do it there. Definitely, we welcome anyone who wants to help with the pre-planning, with the actual act of doing this, the support, advocacy for them. um, yeah, it's going to be a fairly huge undertaking, but I want to begin. I definitely want to begin. It's probably going to take a few months to get off the ground. That's okay. That's okay. We can start talking about it now. We can start planning. We have enough time to make something happen for the holidays. I don't really celebrate the holidays, but it's a good excuse to just celebrate with the community. It's a good excuse. So, trust, love, and friendship, allowing yourself to experience all of that with yourself and with the people who are aligned, people who have a similar resonance as you. Card number 27, culmination, completion, and renewal. Old patterns are about to be broken. Okay. Old patterns are about to be broken. Allow them to be broken, allow them to be purged away. Okay. Um, oh, I love this, you guys. I love this. How can we help if we're not on the continent? Um, hmm, I'm going to get with my team and ask them if they have any ideas. Gaze. I also would love to eventually speak with you and see how we can have an international thing where maybe you can be the liaison for your country and our ministry can begin also looking for ways to provide support for you, your people, your culture, whatever religion is there. Like, see, the thing with me, it doesn't matter what religion you are. What matters is that you exist with dignity and that you are encouraged and empowered to the degree that you seek to protect and cherish the dignity of other people, the sovereignty. That's what's important to me. So I would love to be able to support across many nations. I know we have to start somewhere. So for me personally, it would have to be local to the sanctuary. I'm willing to drive the several hours to get there, that's no problem for me. Driving several hours. But we'll have to figure out the logistics. I'm going to get with my team and we're going to figure out what we can do, and maybe we can work with a shipping company and we can, whatever can also help other nations. We can begin with one nation. We can begin with Uganda. Who knows? You know, these are all some really powerful ideas that will eventually manifest. Um, absolutely. Ooh, some of the colleges I work with in the city would love opportunities to community outreach after our hospitals stopped doing so from the health system's order. Wow. That's a very good that's a very good potential contact, colleges and things like that. Well, that would be awesome. Oh my gosh. The possibilities are limitless, just limitless. Like my goal is not to solicit any donations from any of you, and no financial donations from any of you. That's my goal. My goal is to solicit all of the financial need from corporations. That's my goal. I'm going to achieve that goal by this year. I'll tell you that much. Baby boo, me with double stack lashes. I will sweet talk you into giving me whatever I ask for, Mr. Corporation. Oh, shit. My Southern Belle popped out for a second. Sir, Corporation, sir. You gonna give me everything I asked for. I'll just say it. I'm just saying. You guys, here's the thing. As Blu-rays, we are highly sensitive to the climate of the world. I'm not talking about weather. I'm talking about the social climate, the suffering, the struggle. The last thing that I want, the last thing that my team wants is to be another weight on your back. Yes, in the beginning, we need your support. Absolutely. Absolutely. And you guys, the support you guys gave, mm, to help my team members relocate closer to the sanctuary. Mm, I have some news to share. I can't give the specific details, but I will say I've entered into my first contract as a ministry, and it's a powerful moment. And it's really set my whole entire soul on fire. It's set my whole entire soul on fire. And it's going to be nothing but productiveness. It's going to be nothing but progress. Even the backsliding, even the exhaustion, that's going to be part of the process of progress. And I'm going into this with my eyes fully opened, fully opened, fully opened. And, it's just one of those things. For a little bit longer, we probably will still need to continue to receive support from you guys. I want to minimize that as much as possible. One of the best ways that you can support the ministry is by joining the soulsanctuary.love. That's a recurring contribution. So I want to make clear right now, I don't get paid at all through any of that. That all just sits in the ministry account, and that's used for ministry purposes. I don't even take my housing allowance that I'm given. I'm allotted that. I'm like legally allotted that. And I don't take it. I want to support my team. I want them out here. I want them to be okay. I want us to push forward. I'm willing to work for free. I don't give a shit. So, you want to support the Soul Sanctuary Love. It's a recurring contribution. And with that, obviously, as a thank you, you're not purchasing a membership. It's a recurring contribution, and we give you access to certain areas within our private ministry as a thank you. And that's how you can absolutely help. When you join that recurring contribution group, when you give a recurring contribution, um, you can have access to very exclusive meditations. I do dark matter clearings every month. Do you know what that is? That clears away any parts within your auric field that something demonic can latch into. I do that for free. And if you're part of the recurring contribution, that contribution tier that gets that, you get that. And for anyone that's already part of the Soul Sanctuary Love, I mean, I'm sure they can attest to what it's like to be in our exclusive chats. It's literally like a village powwow. It's not me live streaming like this where it's just me talking and y'all are in the comments. No, no. You get up on the screen. You don't have to turn on your camera. You got something to say to get off your chest. You do it. Come on. And it's the most beautiful fucking environment. Oh my God. Yeah. It's so beautiful, empowering, and healing. It is not unheard of for me to be in that exclusive chat for like a 4-hour period chatting with y'all. Ask anyone who's already in it. Yeah. And everyone be thinking it's like it's only been 45 minutes. Like, motherfuckers, it's 4 hours. How are you guys still here? Don't you have things to do? Oh my God. And I sometimes I feel bad because it's like, dang, I just ate up your whole day. But it's such a beautiful space, such a beautiful, empowering space that you just never want to leave it. It's hard to leave that space. It really, truly is. And you get that with any level of contribution you make. Literally, any level of contribution you make, you get access to that. You get access to that. And it's also not unheard of for me to just randomly be like, "Oh, hey, by the way, guys, I just put up a 50% off coupon for my other website." For what? I don't know. I thought you'd like it. I don't know. I did. Go enjoy. If you need a session, go enjoy. Use that. Don't forget your coupon. Use the coupon. 50% off is a lot. Use the coupon. I will just randomly do that because I'm a giver. That's who I am. I can't not be that. But what I've learned is it's not powerful to just keep giving. It's powerful to give when your soul and your heart call you to do so, when there's some purpose to it. And I never know what the purpose is until after I've given and the person has had the opportunity to process and then finds the courage to share. So I'm learning to comply with soul without knowing why, without knowing the reason, the time frame, the benefit, who will be benefited. I'm just like, sure, okay. Sure. That works for me. you know, I think it's time for us to really begin experiencing not just another side of life, but also another side of me. I'm ready to shift another degree. Oh, thank you, Germanica. Um, it's let's all shift 1 degree. And I think if we all shift 1 degree, we'll all still have each other around. And so it won't feel so abrupt. It won't feel so different, right? I think I think it's this thing of like really just allowing ourselves to go through this organic process, to really just be free to grow haphazardly. And people are like, oh my God, balance, balance. Bitch, I'll be balanced when I feel like it. I will be non emotional when I'm non emotional. I will sleep when I'm dead. Yeah, I don't know what sleep is. Sleep? What's that? Is that when you die? Is that when you die? No, girl. Michael just said, no, girl. What? You keep me busy all the time. I don't know what sleep is. Oh my God, time. All you have is time. That's all you have. Time. Okay, hold on. Hold on. The indefinite continued progress of existence and events in the past, present, and future regarded as a whole. Hmm. Plan, schedule, or arrange when something should happen or be done. That was good. Measure the time taken by a process or activity or a person doing it. Excuse me. No, no. Time. Time. Long or sharp point, such as that on a fork or antler. Hold on. There's something else to this. Old English tind of Germanic origin related to German sein, pinnacle. So, like an antenna? Is that what you mean? An antenna? A slender pointed projecting part, a prong, a pointed branch of an antler. Blade, a lopper. Sorry. Subsoiler and fork. Trouble, distress, to kindle, to set on fire. This is a lot. Okay, ooh, shit. You guys are gonna be okay. Um, everyone's gonna be okay. We're gonna be perfectly fine. We're gonna be perfectly fine because we will not stop until we are all perfectly fine. This ties into some of the things that I experienced back in 1997. It was a set of 3 dreams. The cycles are coming back around. Expect events that have tremendous amounts of collateral damage. Expect events that further degrade our rights, our sovereignty, our autonomous nature. Expect it and don't accept it laying down. In 1997, I had precognitive dreams that I didn't understand until they came to fruition. I dreamt of a tower in the distance. There were 2 of them. I had never traveled before. I was only 18. I dreamt of 2 towers in the distance. One had a big antenna, like a big stick at the top. It was far in the distance, and in that dream, I was able to zoom in and I saw Shaitan on the tower. I called it a tower for some reason, but they were skyscrapers. But I kept calling it a tower. And I know I called it a tower because I ended up buying a dream dictionary because it was so stressful. These dreams scared me so much. I began misusing caffeine pills. They were that scary. And I remember I called it a tower because I got a dream dictionary and I was like, oh, that means I have to break up with my boyfriend. Oops. So it was a tower in the distance. There were two of them. One had a big antenna on top, like a really big antenna on top. The one that had the antenna on top was the one that had Shaitan with two others. Shaitan with two others, two opposing, but were the same. Two whores of Babylon fornicating on the roof of the tower. What's the second attempt? One, two, there's going to be a third. 9/11, COVID, and then a third. One was heinous. The other two are evidence of how we have been hoarded out. We have all been sold to the highest bidder. Don't get me started on birth certificates. Don't get me started on American state nationals. Don't get me started on strawmen, legalese, or any of that. I'm telling y'all, I'm really seriously ET talks. Emmy theory talks. I'm just saying, there's a lot of fucking information that I have gathered over the years. And I'm not talking about when conspiracy shit became, nouveau fresh and you're not cool if you're not researching. You sound stupid when you say shit like that. I'm just saying, fucking knock it off. Knock it off. By the time you got into it, thinking you're on your high horse because you know shit and you follow QAnon, they already infiltrated the movement. Why do you think I dropped out of it before that? They infiltrated it because they were looking for neurodivergence. What is a neurodivergent? Someone who is not neurotypical. Your brain processes information differently. You seek information and process it differently. What does that mean? You can't be controlled because you will question. There's power in questions. There's power in defiance. They don't like that. So what did they do? The mind is a whore. The human mind is a fucking hoe. It can be hoed out to whoever has the best game. That's the truth. The soul cannot. The human mind absolutely can. If I scare you, I can be your pimp, your mental pimp. If I sweet talk you and give you a lot and make you feel good, I can be your sugar mama, mental sugar mama. Think on it. Really, really think on it. So, what did they do? Well, the ones who would be the most difficult to control, they started the New Age movement. That was going to happen anyways. That was going to happen anyways. They couldn't halt the ascension mechanics that was being triggered due to the birth of the indigos, all the different lineages of the indigos, and the crystal children, then the rainbow children, then the diamond ray children, then the double emerald sun children. Yeah, they can't stop that shit. So then what happened? Did you know organic portals are very good at mimicry? I heard something fucking so profound today. I went to this meeting with an intellectual property lawyer, right? And he was talking, and he was like, the enemy does not create. It can't create. It doesn't have the power of creation. So instead, it mimics. And I was like, this is so fucking true. You know, I was it's so fucking true. Yeah, no, that was me in the car. Daddy, listen to this. Oh shit, he's writing it down. Yeah, no, I was all hyped. But he was saying that, and it's the truth though. It's the truth. What the enemy does is they mimic what creator has created for other creations to have that support, that love, empowerment, protection, all of that. And that mimic will go ahead and take your words, your aesthetics, your gifts, and present it to the people. Why? To prevent them from getting the support they need from you. So, do you shut down because someone else stole your thunder? Do you think the sky shuts down because there's thunder in one part? Because there's lightning in another? The sky is unbothered by the clouds. Those clouds are but a passing moment. Organic portals have the ability to mimic to the highest degree, and they will do so. They will copy your words in such a way that it's delivered as though they are their own words, that those words, that idea came from them. But it didn't. It didn't. So what do we do? Keep going. You just keep going. What are you going to do? Stop? Because that's a hiccup. That's a hiccup. That's it. That's a hiccup. Hold on. Well, I can't play it on here because it's has a copyright on it. I can't play it on here. So they knew neurodivergents were coming. They set out the New Age program. All the neurodivergents ate it up, ate it all up. You post things about spirituality and sovereignty, you're on a list. It's a very real list. You are a threat. Now, it's such a fringe topic that a lot of people will be too afraid to openly practice spirituality, right? They're looking for the other neurodivergents. See, the neurodivergents that flock towards spirituality, they're the ones that will rebuild. They're the ones that will uplift and empower through the rebuilding. That part where we're done with the fuckery and now it's time to rebuild our villages, right? That wasn't enough. Two-prong. Creation is smart. Creation is thorough, meticulous in its design. You're going to need a crew that will attack the foundation so the Tower of Babel can fall. Who are those? The truthers. Because they're not just seeking truth, they're seeking validation for their rage. And once they have enough truth, their rage reaches a point where it cannot be tempered by social programs. Guess what's going to happen to that? They're going to be fucked. There's a lot of truthers. They're going to be so fucked, it's ridiculous. But see, here's the thing. They knew that. By, I'd say, about 2007-ish, maybe 2008-ish. By the time people began, or maybe even later than that, by the time most people began in those communities talking about the Mayan calendar, it was infiltrated. And I was like, I'm good. I'm going to just be a housewife now. I've had enough truth for today. I'm going to just be a housewife. I'm good. Thank you. Bye. Yeah. So these people who think they're like, I'm sorry, you came too late to the party. QAnon, that's anything they talk about on the news is fucking orchestrated shit. QAnon is going to set us free. He's not going to do shit. Trump's going to say he's not going to do shit. Oh, Biden's got, but he's not going to do shit. Oh, it's Kamala Camel too. She's not going to do shit. They're not going to do shit. It's all a game. And you're either a chess piece or the board. As long as you continue to play the role you've been programmed to play, you're going to be a pawn. So they needed to identify all of the ones who would be difficult to control. And for many of us, we fell for it. We wore that like a badge of honor. Put on our sleeve, our chest, put on a hat, decal on the car. It's okay though. We'll get through it. Both sides are here, the destroyers and the rebuilders. They can't stop it. Every time a person reaches a higher, more expanded level of awareness of their infinite, divine, immortal consciousness, they anchor more frequency into the planetary grid. What does that mean? No matter what, we're all going to fucking ascend. We already have. And all this mumbo jumbo talk about, 5D, and we've been there since 2016. What the fuck, yo? I'm serious. We were anchored there December of 2016. Critical mass was reached December of 2016. How do I know this? Because I felt it. What happened to you in 2016, 2017 time? Is that when your life went to shit? Is that when your life got turned upside down and craziness happened and then you became different? You woke up. You had this experience and you don't quite know what happened, but you're just not the same. Or maybe it took you until 2018 to realize. Or maybe it took you until 2022. We have different calibrations within our auric shield. It's a membrane, it's an etheric membrane that contains apartheid filters that regulate the amount of experience allowed in to account for an individuated experience and identity. Yep. Elijah says all the world's a stage and all the men and women merely players. They have their exits and their entrances, and one man in his time plays many parts. Eventually, before this life is done, I will be both a king and a queen to rule over all lands. And it will be ruled the way I ruled it once before, in peace and fullness, with no need left unmet for all peoples. I've experienced that in the history of my soul. And I won't stop until it's reestablished because I feel like it. That's why. Because I feel like it. That's reason enough. Because I feel like reestablishing, rebuilding the home that I once had as a soul in this lifetime and sharing that experience, that environment with all of you. And I can if I want to. And guess what? I want to. I want that. Probably the most I've ever wanted something. I want that. I want it enough to be able to do the work that helps me to find the courage to begin shifting my relationship with money. That's huge. Anyone who's known me for any length of time knows I have a very toxic relationship with money. I don't like it. Well, I didn't like it. I didn't want to receive any. And I felt like I wasn't worthy of that money unless I first suffered for it. Not anymore. Now I sit here before you as still the same person that I was. And who's that? The person I'm in the process of becoming. When you enter into that state of goddess in the flesh, The person who you were is a compliment to the person that you are, is a compliment to the person you're becoming. They're all the same, yet so different, entering into all the seasons all at once, allowing all the different colors that you are to come together into this unified totality. It's okay for me to be everything that I am in this moment, or nothing at all. Both are valid, both are sacred, both contribute to the other. Opposing polarities create balance. It gives you a sense of center point. It helps you to really, really understand the limits and the outer limits and what limits you're going to break first. You see, my logic is this: only show me the limits that you really want to watch me break. Because I promise you, I will break the shit out of it. I will. And I'm going to enjoy it. I'm going to break it. And I'm going to let you watch. And every time you tell me it can't be done, I'm going to giggle like a helpless maiden while you see me behave like a savage fucking beast. Totality. You want to see the maiden? I'll show you her. But if what the task calls for is a beast, you'll see that too. Totality. As they say, you're not really peaceful unless you're capable of extreme violence, extreme destruction. Because if you're incapable of that, you're not peaceful, you're helpless. I'm peaceful, not because I have no options, but because peace is my favorite option ever. And that's how you become empowered. Understanding that every single part of you, every single part of you is valid, is beautiful, was intentionally created by God. Oh my God, the gravity of that. Once upon a time, for a very long time, I was so ashamed of how gifted I am. I was so ashamed that I could forever change your health in a beneficial way. I was so ashamed that I could foresee something to the degree that you can avoid it and never suffer in that way, that you would suffer if you experienced it. I was ashamed. I was so ashamed. I was so ashamed of existing in the way I was designed to exist. One of my most favorite families in the world, one of, is this family who welcomed me into their life as one of the children in their family was in the hospital dying. And I was unsure of myself. I so was unsure of myself. And they believed in me and my abilities so much. And I know what I did. I know how to do it again. But I don't know how to believe that I did that. Conundrum. I know what I did. I know how to do it again. But I don't know how to believe that I actually did that. Huh. Huh. This boy came back. He came back. He came back. And he woke up. And they said he'd never wake up. They said he'd never eat food again. Oh, he eats. They said he'd never walk again. Oh, he runs. They said all kind of things. All sorts of things. They said these things. They told his mom. They broke her heart every fucking day. They broke her heart. And then my husband said I had to see them. And he drove me all those hours to go see them in the hospital. I didn't know what I was going to do there. What am I going to do? Say hi? This is so weird. I'm socially awkward. What am I going to do? I don't know how to socialize with people. I will sit there quietly. And I only stayed for a few minutes. 10, 15 minutes. I didn't want to bother them. Yes. I drove double-digit amount of hours to get there, to see them for about 10, 15 minutes because it was worth it to me. And I was going to leave because I was afraid. I was afraid that I wouldn't be able to control anything about myself and that I would accidentally hurt this child. We were still in the hospital. He had severe brain injuries. And what happened? He has a young mom. And she believed in me enough to insist. When I was going to leave, she insisted, touch him. What do you mean, touch him? She goes, I don't care. Touch him, touch his foot, use one finger and touch his foot. And I was like, literally? Because I don't know if I'm going to hurt him. Like, I'm scared. And I could see she needed that. I wasn't expecting anything. And I touched his foot. The top of his foot, he was sitting in a wheelchair. And then his foot started to shake. And I got scared and I let go. And I left. And I cried in the elevator on the way down. I dried my tears as I was rushing to the parking lot because my family was sitting in the car waiting for me. And as I got to the car, maybe 15 minutes later, his mom sent me a video. This is a child who had so much brain injury. He could not hold his own neck up. His neck was not strong enough. He couldn't hold his head up. He had no swallowing reflex and all of that. He was basically, I would say, a developmental level of like a 4 or 5 month old baby. And he was around 5 or 6 years old. Modern medicine did that to him. They call it fires. It's some type of brain misfiring. They injured him because certain medical programs that they tell you is necessary, it's to find children like him and hurt them, to damage their brain so they don't fully integrate into the physical body. Mhm. You have to look up the term synergistic toxicity by Dr. Stephanie Seneff. Synergistic toxicity. Yep. But in that meeting, she believed in me more than I believed in myself. And there was no question in her mind that I would not harm her child, who was already in a very vulnerable state. So, for the first time since all of this happened to their family, and they went through this for months during the holiday season, devastated their whole family. For months, this was the first time she saw him moving the way he was moving. He was fighting with his blanket and moving his legs so much because he didn't want me to leave. You see, he knew I was there before I got out of the elevator. He knew it was me that opened the door despite the fact that his back was facing the door when I entered. He knew it was me even though I didn't say a word. He knew who I was, despite that being the first time he met me in real life. And he wanted nothing more than to just be held in my lap. But I was too shy, and so I didn't. And he didn't want me to leave, but I was afraid, so I did. But not before his mom convinced me to touch one finger on his foot. And I won't go into what I did that night. But his condition greatly improved from that point on. It wasn't long before he had a walker and was relearning how to walk. Haven't seen him in a few years, but the last time I saw him, he convinced me to get in a huge outdoor trampoline in their backyard. And he soaked himself with a water hose and he used me as a trampoline. He jumped all over me. And then I was cracking up and I got up and I took off running in the trampoline. And I just love how my life unfolds. And I love how the people who have the capacity and the circumstance to help me understand more deeply the gravity of my purpose and my presence, I love how they find me right at that perfect time, that time where I'm not sure I'm ready, but your presence tells me, reassures me that I absolutely am. And so then I find the courage somehow to witness more of my blossoms begin to bloom. You see, I'm not just a flower, I'm the entire fucking plant. And I don't have just one flower, I'm covered with flowers all over, flowers and leaves and roots and all of that valid. No part of me more or less valid than another part of me, just because of someone's ability to perceive the value or lack thereof. And the most beautiful thing is that I've learned to not just accept the fact that I'm a wildflower with thorns. I now love my thorns. I love that I've learned how to use them in perfect time and measure. I love that I'm losing my need to apologize for having thorns and for people catching them thorns sometimes. You see, if you don't know how to handle a wildflower, don't start trying to yank the blooms. A wildflower never has to escape who they are. They just grow. They grow and they get what they need when they need it. The sunlight, your truth, the soil, your shadow, the water, your tears, all of that necessary components. And you reaching as high towards your light as your roots dive down towards your darkness. Darkness is not intrinsically evil. They just want you to believe that because that's where all your power is hidden. Why? Because you're communing with demons. First and foremost, demons are authorized by God to exist. If you believe in God, you also believe in demons. If you believe in demons, you also believe in God. If God created all things, motherfucker, who do you think made the demons? And if you think God is omnipotent, you think demons would exist if God did not authorize that. Your argument is invalid. It just is. So darkness is not intrinsically evil. There's different forms of darkness. There's darkness that's just an opposing polarity to light. And then there's darkness that is the fallen nature, a darkness because you've turned away from the light because of your shame of the misdeeds you have participated in. That's also a form of darkness. But I digress. Darkness is not intrinsically evil. Your power is hidden in the darkness because it requires you reaching a certain level of maturity and respect for that darkness, that unknown, that density before you begin to explore it. And so, as you reach that level of maturity and respect, you then are better prepared to begin wielding the type of power that requires maturity and respect. But they want you to believe that it's evil and that I'm teaching you to dabble in darkness. If your God is so omnipotent, what the fuck are you scared of? I thought you're a child of God. When I say I'm a child of God, that means I'm not scared of anything. Why? Because if I'm God's child, God will protect me no matter what. There's nothing I have to be afraid of. And whatever happens to me is something that will encourage more growth. It's not a punishment. It's not a failure on God's part to protect me. It's an opportunity to learn through hands-on experience. Do you see how I have the ability to see in my life why I go through things? And that's why I'm not bitter about going through things. How could I ever be bitter about learning and growing and being better prepared to serve an even higher purpose? Not higher as in I'm better than you, but higher as in if I get up there, I can pull you up too. Don't let them distort your process and convince you that you're the issue. You know if you're the issue. You know it. And if you keep trying to look for ways to prove that you're the issue, clearly you're not the issue and you need to cut yourself a break. There are always consequences for actions or lack thereof. And consequences are not intrinsically bad or punishment. Consequences are the end result of decisions and actions. Is it worth it? Because if it's not, why do you do it? Is it because you want to punish yourself? Why? Why do you need to be punished? You don't understand. I mean, no, I think it's you that doesn't understand. I can see through down to your core and I see nothing that needs to be punished. I see skewed perception. I see a story you've told yourself about yourself. I see the pain that it's caused you. I see the rejection that resulted from it. But I don't see a viable reason to punish you. So why are you punishing yourself? Because someone who was hurting as badly as you are now one day convinced you to join them there. And the giver that you are, You decided to agree. You can change your mind. It doesn't matter how many years you've been doing it. You can change your mind. You can choose something else. You can choose yourself. That's not selfish. It's not. You can choose yourself. You can choose your growth. You can choose financial stability. Suffering through financial instability does not prove you're spiritual. Don't listen to these stupid ass people who fucking try and convince you that you are wicked if you make it a point to be compensated for your time. Don't make them don't make them into something more than what they actually are, which is what? The very resistance that's necessary for you to grow beyond what they can do, to grow in a way where their words have no effect. And that's the process of growth. This is a period. Things are being completed, things are finishing. Ooh, healing, restoring, freedom, breaking the chains, resources, protection, finding what's important, rebirth, giving yourself a second chance, effort, conquering your demons, dominance, believing in yourself. You know what my kids sometimes say to each other? It's hilarious. So my kids are not aggressive with each other, right? They sometimes will have a dry sense of humor, but they each know that they're joking. So one of my kids, if you say something to him, he'll be like, dodges. Like he just dodged whatever insult you threw. Dodges, dodges insult. I'd be cracking up just listening to them. One of my other kids, he's hilarious. He is absolutely hilarious. And he will straight up just tell you, exert your dominance. They're playing a video game. It's time for you to exert your dominance. Dominate him. I mean, they're not playing against each other. They're playing, I don't know, someone online or something. I don't know. But he says, exert your dominance. And I think sometimes you have to do just that, exert your dominance. What's wrong with being dominant? You cannot ever claim that you are a sovereign being and a totality if you are afraid of dominance or if you feel softness is weakness. I can be the softest, most gentlest person you ever come across, or I can be dominant as fuck. Depends on what you need. Your presence will invite the proper parts of me out. And however I respond to you, that's what you called to come out of me. You called it out, and I agreed to let it out. I'm taking ownership over my decision. And that's the thing. It's my decision. So every single part of you is valid. Begin embracing that. It's midnight. I gotta go. I'm going to sleep, y'all. I gotta teach a class tomorrow. I gotta have church with you guys tomorrow. There were just too many cards that were pulled, and I'm kind of just over it. We've been live. My eyes starting to twitch again. Like, ooh, 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 ooh. My eyes twitching. I gotta go. It's super twitching. It's time to go now. You guys, I'm excited. I am excited. I'm excited about what we're creating together. I'm excited about our future together. I'm excited about the peace we are cultivating and will eventually harvest. I'm excited about the changes that are already initiated that we're not even aware of yet. I'm excited. It's like the day before Christmas Eve. You know what that day is? That's the day where it's like, It's almost time. It's almost time. That's how it feels because that's how it is. It's almost time for the world to experience the changes that we've been praying for, dreaming of, quietly cultivating, quietly manifesting. Ooh, ooh, just ooh. Oh, Dr. Stephanie Seneff. Here, I'll write it. Synergistic toxicity. Oops. Totally respect her work. I swear to God. I swear to God. Yeah. Yes. She is not an extremist. Just want to say that first and foremost. She is a scientific doctor and she speaks strictly in scientific terms about scientific facts, scientific observations, scientific hypothesis about causal relationships, discoveries in that. She talks about Shikama pathways. She talks about synergistic toxicity and how glyphosate pairs with heavy metals, uh, potentially being a causal type of relationship between autism and certain programs, right? Yeah. It was never the thimerosal. Thimerosal, that's just a preservative. It's the adjuvant. Adjuvants are the component, the ingredient in that toxic stew that creates an immune response. You cannot remove that because the mucous membranes are bypassed. When they introduce a pathogen, it has to first be recognized by the body through the entry of mucous membranes, your mouth, your nose, your eyes. If a pathogen enters, say it's common cold, right? You have a cut and it enters. When you injure the skin, inflammation keeps all of that contained. It's very difficult to get a common cold through a cut on your arm, right? Has to go through the mucous membranes. So, what ends up happening when it goes through the mucous membranes? Your body starts cataloging the genome of that bacteria, virus, whatever it is. It starts to catalog it, and then it starts to build an immune response to it. The alarm bells are ringing. That's why you'll get a fever first. That fever is to create an environment that is not as hospitable to a pathogen as not having a fever. What do doctors tell you? Oh, you have to lower that fever. Fuck you. That's what the body's meant to do. Oh no, the baby will seize at like 101. Are you fucking kidding me? That's the temperature the baby needs to be to fucking trigger the immune response. That means their immune system is working. But no, no, we're taught to continue to interfere with a grand, beautiful, perfect design of nature. My kids are almost never sick. We don't use any type of um, antibacterial anything anymore. It's been years. I think since 2011, maybe 2011 ish. I think it's around 2011. We stopped using all of that. Hmm. And so I don't know if you know this. You clean with bleach, that's a biocide. It kills anything biological. It kills everything. You clean with bleach, and what ends up happening is it leaves a residue. Anytime you touch that, it's on your hands. When you eat something, whatever residue on your hands is now on your food. It's now in your body. About 70% of your immune system is housed in your gut. That's the second brain. Mhm. So you introduce a biocide into your gut, which is full of gut bacteria. That's going to create an imbalance. You're killing your immune system. My kids have never even been on antibiotics. They don't get ear infections. That's very rare. The only time they'll get an ear infection is if they've eaten something that they should not have, and their body begins to react and it begins to ooze fluid, and they're sticking dirty fingers in their ears or whatever. Perfect environment to grow something in there. That's the only time. If you consistently have ear infections, you're probably reactive to something you're eating. Inflammation is one hell of a mofo. Prolonged levels of inflammation is a precursor for conditions like cancer. I don't know if you guys know this. What is a good substitute for bleach? Friction. See, we think if we pump stuff on and it coats our hands and it kills the bacteria, and then that's all good, right? But here's the thing, if you touch poop and you take a napkin and wipe it off, and then you put hand sanitizer, you didn't just clean your hands. You still have poop on your hands. I'm serious. The soap works in conjunction with the movement. Why do you think when doctors go into surgery, they're every that's how I used to wash my hands. I'm serious. That's how I used to wash my hands. And I had the brush because my mom's a nurse. My mom's like, "You're crazy. You have a mental problem. Just get me the soap. What's wrong with you?" So that's how I used to wash my hands. But that's the thing. Soap is meant to assist, facilitate in the dissolving of the oils, and the oils on your skin that your skin naturally produces, a sebum. That's what holds the bacteria. Do you really need to sanitize to that degree? No, you don't. I say this as a reformed germaphobe. I don't sanitize anything now. I so it was stages. I sanitized everything with chlorhexidine. Fucking nearly killed myself. This chlorhexidine, I don't know. It's a surgical soap. Literally my whole house. And then I would follow that with some Lysol. Fucking don't even, it's making my lungs close up. And then I switched to a mix of plain water, a tablespoon of Blue Dawn soap, and then maybe like a half cup of vinegar and a few drops of grapefruit seed extract for whatever the vinegar couldn't conquer. It's too much. And then it became this thing of just like watered down vinegar, forget all the other stuff. And then now it's this thing of like, can you just rinse the washcloth really quick? No, you don't need soap. Just rinse it really quick so I can wipe down the counters. If I'm concerned about bacteria, get a new washcloth. Wash that in the washing machine and use a brand new washcloth. If I'm going to have meat on the counter, I'm not going to be using a washcloth. It's just common sense, y'all. I'm going to use something that's disposable. With that, I'm going to go ahead and wash down that area with actual dish soap repeatedly. Repeatedly. I would rather have mild exposure to things like that than kill my gut bacteria. That's more important to me, to keep that maintained. And so, I mean, common sense, if you're about to eat, wash your hands. Wash your hands good. A lot of friction and a lot of water, because the friction dislodges the stuff and the water washes it away. The soap helps with the breakdown of the oils that help to hold on to the bacterias and stuff. But I mean, these are just common sense type things that we are not taught is common sense. We're taught to spray things, to glop gels and whatnot. And I used to participate in that for a very long time, a very, very, very long time, because I didn't trust my body. I trust her now. I trust her to know what to do. I trust that if I give her the proper tools, the proper nutrition, that she will do what she does, which is self heal. I love Castile soap. So I switched from the Dawn to the Castile soap when I was making the thing, um, the the tabletop cleansers. That was amazing. If you're really hell bent on feeling like you have to sanitize, use grapefruit seed extract. Put a couple drops of an essential oil like rosemary, thyme, oregano, tea tree oil. There's so many different options. But here's the thing, you guys. Here's the thing. If you use an essential oil, quite a few of them are endocrine disruptors. Specifically, not grapefruit seed, um, melaleuca, tea tree oil. That's an endocrine disruptor. You could really mess up your children's hormonal composition through exposure, chronic, long-term exposure to melaleuca, just so you guys are aware. And this is stuff you can totally look up yourself, and I highly encourage you to find this information yourself, not just take what I say and take it as like, well, Emmy said, no. No, no. What I'm saying is the basis you will begin with. That's just the ground level. You take those terms, you input that shit in your device, you look for more information. Okay? Because whatever I learned years ago, that might be outdated information. We're such an organic family at this point that it's like whatever. Like whatever. Um just a lot of really good stuff that you can find, but you have to be careful. Use your discernment. Allow yourself to really be aware of what you're participating in. Just, there's so many different ways to do things for so ridiculously cheap. You don't have to get the things that are pre-made. You can use Castile soap for your dishes. You know that, right? You can use Castile soap. You can do all sorts of different things. You can make your own um, washing machine soap. I'm so granola. It's ridiculous. I'm like so granola. It is ridiculous. But my kids rarely get sick. And the efficacy of the information that I have applied when it comes to caring for my children. So, Eric, are you still here? Alathane, are you still here? Um, because if he's still here, he can help you to understand. He can help you to understand. Or anyone medical, medical field, you can help them understand. Years ago, and my children were all still babies, right? Like baby babies, like toddlers and newborns and stuff. Um, total germaphobe at that time. And one of my kids got sick, and I was like, oh no, why are you sick? Because someone had come over, one of my husband's friends had come over, and apparently he'd been sick for quite a few weeks, but he didn't think he was contagious anymore. He had a pretty nasty cough, and he gave it to my kids. And my kids have asthma, and so one by one they began catching a cold, which I thought was a cold at first. The newborn was exclusively breastfeeding, so I knew he was going to be perfectly fine. I totally was like, okay, older babies, you can cough all over me, expose me to it, my body will start making all of the antibodies for the newborn. Newborn is safe. And so um one of the slightly older toddlers, I don't know what the hell happened, but his nose started bleeding so bad, and I had never seen him like that. Like, uh-uh, This is not okay. I'm kind of worried now. So the following day, I took all of the kids to their pediatrician, just, make sure we don't need any prescription for anything. Um, and she does the whole workup for them, listens to his lungs. She's like, he's crackling. And I was like, oh my God. And she's like, he needs to go to the ER and he's going to be admitted. And I had said to her, because they tested him for RSV. So, Eric, that's the question. Do you know the severity of RSV for babies? Please explain to them the severity of RSV for babies. So, all of my kids tested positive for RSV, very serious respiratory infection that has a considerable mortality rate for newborns and the elderly and immunocompromised people. Like, they don't fuck around with this, right? And so they all have RSV, and that's why the doctor said you need to go to the ER because your toddler needs to be admitted. She listened to his lungs and everything. And I said to her, I will take him in if I can't handle it at home. I would like to try because I am very medically inclined and I understand what my limitations are. So I had asked her to instruct me on what to look for when it comes to the early signs of respiratory distress. If he experiences any signs, even mild, of respiratory distress, I will call 911. That's what I told her. But outside of that, I would like to kind of just soothe him at home because it's viral and there's not much they can do. The only reason we would have to go to the hospital is just in case he takes a turn for the worse, they can intubate him. They can shove a tube in his throat and help him to breathe. And so she said, okay, she wasn't comfortable with it, but okay, she's going to trust me to take him to the ER because she's like, he's going to go to the ER. He's going to be admitted. And she was just humoring me. So basically, I took my son home and she set a 3-day uh, recheck for him, for all of them. We come back in 3 days and my son is joking around with her. He's smiling. She listens to his lungs, no crackle, completely clear. RSV usually takes several weeks to several months to clear. And it's not uncommon to develop scar tissue in the lungs. They really fuck you up long term. You think whooping cough is bad? Yeah, no, RSV. RSV. And so I took him back after 3 days doing my all natural protocol, no sanitizers, no nothing. For that, I did have to bring out some Melaleuca. All the doorknobs, every surface, the toilet, everything. We Melaleuca'd out for a couple days. And it's worse than bronchitis, much worse. And it's highly communicable. So when someone has a confirmed case of RSV, they button up the whole room. You're that's it. No one's allowed in there, and they have to all wear the was it PP something, personal protection, whatever, the gowns and all of that, and then they have to take it all off and dump it before they go to another patient. So yeah, it's pretty bad. It's a pretty bad thing, bronchitis, pneumonia mixture. So my child after 3 days was clear of RSV, clear. And his pediatrician was like, "What did you do at home?" Because I told her we didn't go. He didn't have any symptoms that told me he needed to go. She wanted to know what I did, and I didn't want to deal with her reporting me to anyone. So I was like, "Nothing. I just loved all my kids." Yeah. So what did I do? Um, no, no fever reducers. No, no, no. But I don't encourage you to do that. I'm just telling you what I did. I kept very close track of his body temperature. And when it would go to like 102 ish, I would then begin to use a cool compress, cool washcloth, just to keep him comfortable. I give him popsicles. He'd just be in his underwear. And, the temperature would always go back down after maybe like 5-10 minutes of that. His temperature would go back down to like 101. Okay, that's under control. 101 is not bad. Um, and then not cold, just cool, like room temp. If you have a fever, that feels cold to you. So room temp. And then I nebulized him every 4 hours. She said, by the time, if you over nebulize him, you're just wasting the medication because the receptors have taken their full load. So it's not really going to have any effect, but you can't actually like overdose. That's what she told me. So I said, what's the shortest amount of time between doses that I can do? And she said 4 hours is reasonable. So I nebulized him every 4 hours, and I added extra sterile inhalation saline to that. And then I added a drop of true colloidal silver. And then the medication was a cup of chamomile tea with a tablespoon of raw, unfiltered apple cider vinegar with the mother, raw honey, and drink that. Drink it while it's warm to dissolve your postnasal drip that's hurting your throat. 3 days, RSV was gone. I had COVID too. It was cleared in about 2 days. It did worry me for one of my kids that has severe asthma. He caught COVID, and I was like, holy fuck, you might actually go to the hospital. I was like, you okay, buddy? Let me see your throat. Let me see your ribs. If you have to go to the hospital, mommy will stay with you, okay? I told them straight up. It's one of those things. It's one of those things, you have to have enough knowledge and know what to look for. Um, yeah, but the thing is, what she explained to me, because you say overdose on a nebulizer is possible by increasing the heart rate. Um, she said to me that my child will act up way up, and I'll know something is just wrong if I do too much. So I also have asthma, and you're right. When I take the nebulizer, my heart rate does increase, and I was aware of that. So I was monitoring that along with the oxygen level. So, and that's the thing. That's why I was comfortable trying at home because I had the proper equipment. I had a pulse oximeter. That's the thing you put on the finger, and it measures your oxygen levels in your blood as well as your heart rate. I also have a blood pressure machine. So I was checking all of these things. That's why I'm not telling you guys to do this. I'm saying that's what I did, but I'm on another level of medical inclination, and I know when I need to call 911, you know? I know when I need to call 911. But that was my concern, like, how will it affect their vitals? It's just a whole bunch of different things. But again, I'm such a present person when I'm taking care of someone. Yo, when I was taking care of my brother for his heart, I was even keeping track of his bowel movements, and he, he got so irritated. And I was writing all this shit in a notebook. What time? And he's like, you want to see it too? I was like, shit, I'm just trying to take care of you. Like, I am so meticulous when it comes to that type. If you task me with that, I am so meticulous to the degree that when I took care of my mom, I was able to provide such a meticulously kept medical record over the course of the entire time that when we went to the ER because she was having certain symptoms, I presented it to the attending physician. She looked at the notes and she goes, "Oh, this is perfect. Your mom doesn't have to be admitted. I see here clearly we need to just adjust her dosage of milrinone." Oh, not milrinone. Um, milrinone is IV. Which was it? It was some heart med. Metropolol. She goes, "We just have to lower her metropolol. It's a little bit too high." And I was like, "Oh, really?" She doesn't have to say. She goes, "No." Oh my God, are you a doctor? I was like, And my mom was like, she's just anal. Why would you say that? Yeah, that was my reaction. Like, why would you say that? Because you are. I was like, Mom. um, yeah, what works for my family is not necessarily going to be safe for other people's family. That's very important for you guys to be aware of. You can't be like, oh, my kid is having respiratory distress. I don't know what that is, but let me put some colloidal silver in. No, 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 no. You can't do that. You can't do that. Respiratory things that can go fatal very quickly. Like they can be fine. How long can you hold your breath? That's how long you have for medical help to arrive and keep you from dying. Add another minute or two, you get brain damage. That's not something to fuck around with. For real, for real. Several months back, there's a lot of like dust and everything in the air, and it triggered one of my kids' asthma. And I woke up in the middle of the night feeling like something was wrong, but he was sleeping. He seemed like he was sleeping comfortably. And I was like, something's not right. And so I went and got the pulse oximeter. I put it on his finger, and y'all, his O2 level was like at, I think, 89. I woke his ass up real quick. I was like, baby, sit up, take a deep breath for me. And he did. And he's kind of confused, like, what are you doing? I'm sleeping. And I was like, take a deep breath for me. We did several breaths like that. And it hopped up back to like 92, 93, which is still, that's like, no, no, I need you at 95 or this is a fucking ER visit right now. I'm calling 911. My husband's like, well, why are you tripping? Do you want him to die? Do you want him to die? Because I will never forgive you if he dies. Yeah, no, for real. I don't fuck around with none of that shit. I know what I can handle at home and what you need to get it to the ER or I need to call 911. I know what I can handle. And with that, respiratory, you never fuck around with respiratory, cardiac, or brain. Ever, 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 ever. Never. You never do that. You never wait. You never, nope, no. If you have a stroke, yes, they can have clot buster medication administered to break up the clot and minimize the amount of damage. But you have, from the time the first symptom arrives or is witnessed, I think an hour. Not when you arrive in the ER, when the symptoms first arrive. Anything beyond, I think, like an hour, or was it 45 minutes? That's it. You can't have that. That's not an option. As a matter of fact, most hospitals will have a protocol that if they suspect stroke, from the time you get in, you must be evaluated for stroke within 45 minutes. You are a top priority. Oh, really? Up to a day? See, I told you guys, I am totally out of date. Out of date. I haven't I haven't needed to know that info. I'm the kind of person I will fucking download your hospital manual. I will. I will download your hospital manual. I will download all of the fucking patient rights. I'm not trying to argue with people. I'm just saying I want to know what the fuck you need to do for my family. But and that's you can't know everything. So you have to just know what your limits are, what you know and what you don't know. And it's okay to not know everything. But it's not okay to allow yourself to be harmed or other people to be harmed because your ego prevents you from admitting the truth, which is you don't know. It's okay to not know. It's okay to need help. It's okay to go to, people who can. Um, yeah, they could have bombarded him with antibiotics. I mean, if he needs it, I'm not the kind of parent where it's like my child needs life-saving doses of antibiotics and I'm going to say no. Like, no, fuck that. Pump him with what he needs, but only if he needs it. That's my thing. he has to have a medical need for it. And I'm not going to, like, I know just enough about medical stuff where I'm like, okay, this is beyond my capacity. Please take over. I'm not going to fight you. Please explain to me what you're doing. I'm not going to fight you. This is beyond my capacity to understand and assist with. And that's, it's okay. It's okay. That's why I brought my child here. You know what I mean? Just things like that. Just things like that. Oh, yeah, I got to go. Class is in 7 hours. Thank you for the reminder. You guys, I love chatting with you. I love this space that we share. I just want you to know how much I cherish you guys. I do so much. So I hope everyone has an amazing rest of their night or day. I'll see y'all in a few hours. Bye, everyone.